2 days ago, Sayadaw was talking about what a true yogi is. And a true yogi develops the mind that is clean of lobha and dosa, one time after another. And thus the mind, this clean, pure mind, grows. For this, one needs to make one's mind, one's mindfulness, one's sati stick to the arising object, whatever's presently arising. For this, we need alert, active effort, which pushes the mind to the object. One has to apply this effort, and one also has to aim, which is the quality of vitakka. If there's not enough energy pushing the mind to the object, then we'll fall short. If there's too much energy, we'll overshoot. So there shouldn't be either a lack of energy or too much energy. And for this we need aiming. Aiming has the jhanic quality. That means that it is concentrated. So there's these two aspects to vitakka. One is that it concentrates and it also aims. So with this, the mind meets the object directly. So it's very important to apply these two factors every second without a gap. As soon as the object arises, we need to push our mind to the object with aim at the same time. So one who possesses this virya effort is a yogi. And there are three things. One has to practice respectfully, one has to practice meticulously, and one has to practice without resting, without taking breaks. And although we have eyes, as Sayadaw mentioned, we have eyes that can see, but we have to behave as though we're blind. We have ears that can hear, but we have to behave as though we're not hearing anything. And although we have wisdom of many types, we have to just follow what the teacher says. Although we're healthy in body, to whatever extent we're healthy, and have good physical energy, we have to behave like a sick person and perform our actions slowly. When we meet difficulties within our body, sometimes what happens is fear arises. We're afraid for our life. Well, if this happens, there won't be any attempt to know the phenomena. There will be no effort. And then one won't be able to get past the difficulty. So at such moments, one has to increase one's effort. One has to increase virya and behave just like a corpse. A corpse doesn't know what is happening to it. A corpse doesn't respond, whether it's being burned or poked or anything. And it's a helpful attitude in trying to get over this difficult stage. And this is not something that Sayadaw has spoken of on his own. This is in the texts. And what it means is, this analogy means that one has to be determined. And one has to have the attitude of investigating the phenomenon within one. There haven't been any deaths due to Vipassana. And on the other hand, what has happened in many cases is that people have regained good health. They've overcome diseases because the practice brings about good circulation of the blood within their body and brings about good health. If these two qualities of effort and aiming are in our stream of consciousness every second without a gap, then the bhavana mind is being developed. The mind that is clean of lobha, greed. Although we see something enticing, greed doesn't arise. The mind is free of dosa, anger, because although we might meet up with something unsatisfying, no dosa arises. Developing this clean mind is called bhavana, mental development. So the mind that is free of lobha, greed, the mind that is free of dosa, anger, this mind is clean and clear. It's clean because these types of mental dirt are not present. And therefore it's high level. It's a high level type of mind. And this uplifts one's status. This is not being uplifted the way one's education may do so, or making money may do so. It's not having high status because of one's position in the world. But it's because of this clean mind. If we know with aiming and effort each second, in 1 second, there's one occurrence of this clean mind. In 60 seconds, there will be 60 occurrences. In 5 minutes, 300. In an hour, 3,600. So this mind occurs again and again. It's being developed. And when that mind is, when this mind is being developed, developed again and again, the thoughts of lobha, thoughts associated with dosa, can't arise. When there's no effort and no aiming, these wanting something, thoughts of lobha, thoughts of greed, thoughts of anger can arise. And these are low level. The mind that is clean of these is a high level mind. So for this we need firm, steadfast effort to develop this mind again and again. And when we do this, when we're making effort like this and aiming, sometimes we miss, but we know it right away. Oh, I missed. And that knowing is a moment of being aware of the mind that has missed. So we just note that, oh, missing. When we have strong aiming and effort, then defilements can't enter our mind stream. Or if they do, we can cure them by observing them right away. So that we have both prevention of defilements from arising and cure for them. We can cure them, remedy them when they do arise. So this mind is being developed, it's being created, generated again and again. And it's not just being repeated again and again, it's also becoming stronger and stronger. It's becoming more and more well developed, and it's also increasing in frequency. So this is what we try to do. So starting with the rising and the falling, to make the mind stick to the rising, the falling, and every single arising object, we have to push the mind to the object so that sati sticks, the mindfulness sticks. If we apply energy right when the abdomen rises, if we apply our energy to observe the abdomen at that moment, sati will stick to the object. It will stick to the movement of the rising. And if we apply energy, mental energy and aiming to observe the falling as soon as it happens, the sati will stick to that movement, the gradual displacement of the abdomen as it falls. When this mindfulness, when sati sticks to the object, the mind doesn't run anywhere. And therefore, the mind falls collectedly on the object. This is samadhi, concentration. It's called khanika samadhi, momentary concentration. due to the mind falling collectedly on the arising object, we have this type of samadhi. So if we analyze what is happening in this moment, pushing the mind to be at the object right when it happens, this virya is called samavayama. It's right effort. And if the mindfulness sticks to the object, that's samasati, right mindfulness. And the concentration falling collectively on the object is sama-samadhi, right concentration. So therefore we have samavayama, samasati, sama-samadhi, the peaceful path of samadhi. And to say further about it, this samavayama, right effort, it doesn't give lobha or dosa or any of the kilesas, especially laziness. It doesn't give any of these a chance to arise. It gives them no place in one's mind stream. So this is called dispelling the kilesas. And samasati, sticking to the object, does two things. It protects, this is called rekha in Pali, and it's like a blockade, so that the kilesas can't in, and that's called avarana. And because of this protection and blocking out the kilesas, there's no oppression. We don't experience any oppression due to the kilesas, the mental defilements. And so we're safe and secure. And this is called goti, G-U-T-T-I. And because of this security, we feel free. And this is called mutti, M-U-T-T-I. So at this moment, there's no movement of the mind due to raga or dosa. So the mind is peaceful. If there were no kanika samadhi, if there were no momentary samadhi, we would be thinking about sense pleasures all the time. Our minds would be dwelling, Our minds would be dwelling on what's good to see, what's good to hear, what's good to taste, smell, touch. So our mind would be on that which we want. This is called kama chanda nivarana, the obstacle of sense desire. This would be occurring full time if kanika samadhi were not present. And in 1 minute of a normal life, then there would be 60 moments where the mind is just dwelling on what we want. So, with effort and with mindfulness sticking to the object, and samadhi, this virya sati samadhi, the pariyotana kilesas, the obsessive kilesas, don't arise. They don't have a chance. So try it and see. Within 1 or 2 days, it's evident that this, what Sayadaw is just saying. One has to practice respectfully, meticulously, and without taking breaks for this to happen. And it's like when we cross a very narrow bridge. Say we've got to cross a bridge that's just a plank between 2 cliffs, between 2 steep slopes, and down below you have a far way to go. So if you're crossing on this type of very narrow bridge, you have to go across slowly. And you can't look here or there, because if you do, you're going to fall off. The bridge is very narrow, and you have a far way to go down. So you go slowly, and you may have to use your hands to balance you. Yogis are like this person crossing a very narrow bridge over a deep gorge. So yogis have to sit down carefully, stand up carefully when we do When we bend one of our arms or stretch it, we have to do these things slowly. So just like the person crossing the bridge has to look very meticulously at what they're doing and also walk slowly. If they are looking meticulously but they're walking quickly, then there's no way it will work. One will only get across if one is both looking meticulously and walking slowly. So Sayadaw would like the yogis to follow this example. And if you do, within 3 days or even 7 days, say 7 days at most, within 7 days you will experience something special. If not, it means that you're not moving slowly enough, or not noting meticulously enough. Or if you're noting meticulously enough, these actions that we do in our daily life, like bending and stretching, blinking the eyes and so on, opening and closing the eyes, etc., these things are being done too fast. So basically it means one isn't doing one's work. So every day, if one practices like this, every day there will be something new. Every day there will be something new to tell the teacher. So when we can aim like that and hit the object directly. So if we aim and apply effort like this, and because of the aiming and the effort being present, we get a hit, contact the object, then we'll get good marks. And this can happen within 1 week. This ability can happen within 1 week. So if it doesn't happen, it means that the yogi is not yet working well. The energy is not full yet, or the aiming is not yet accurate. So if that is the case, if energy is either lacking, virya is lacking, or aiming is not accurate, or both, nothing special will happen. And then it's just boring and tiring. But at least one is keeping sila. And one has to try to develop these jhanic factors. This is very important. At least one is keeping sila, and to some extent one has samadhi. But what needs to happen is one needs to be able to develop these jhanic factors of vitakka and vichara, of aiming, the focused aiming, and contacting the object directly as if rubbing against it. So Sayadaw asked the yogis to please examine yourselves. When you note the rising, is full energy being applied? Is the mind alert? And am I aiming? So you have to look at what's happening. When I note the falling, is the energy full? Is aiming present? So examine yourself. If these two qualities of applying energy and aiming, if the energy is full and the aim is accurate, then the mind will contact the object and rub against it. This quality of vichara will occur. And then we'll get full marks, so to speak. We'll see the true nature that is really there. And when the two factors of energy and aiming are lacking, then that won't happen. So when we have both aiming and energy and rubbing occurs, this is something that can happen within 7 days. And if we have aiming and effort together with the quality of rubbing, within 7 days we will experience special things in our practice. And when this happens, the special things that we see, the special experience will carry us. The meditation teacher will no longer have to urge us to practice. Our experience will carry us. So Sayadaw urges all the yogis seriously to use this analogy of the game of dudoji, where the moles come out of the hole and one has to wait to whack them with the mallet. The mole is like the object that is arising anew time and again in one's body. Whether it's the rising, the falling, stiffness, heat, tension, bending, stretching, lifting, moving, placing. Just like the child waits for the mole to come out of the hole, you've got to be ready for that object when it arises and hit it on the head. So just like when a child is playing this game of dudoji, when they're really focused on it, keeping their mind on the game, they get a lot of points. And the same too. One should have this idea that, okay, I'm a yogi, and this is my job right now. I'm going to do it. The object arises, aim, make effort. So that's what one has to do. So Sayadaw urges us all to practice like this. That's all for tonight. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Directly contact the quality of it directly, as Sayadaw mentioned. Then we get full points. We don't get any loss of points when we can hit the object accurately with our aiming so that this rubbing quality occurs. And in this regard, Sayadaw would like to mention a game that he saw in South Korea called dudoji. And this is like a plastic circle with, it has maybe 8 or 10 little holes in it, like a plastic tray. And what happens when you put the batteries in and you turn it on is that little moles come out of the hole. A little mole will come out of each hole at random. They just sort of pop up and they make a sound. And the player, the child, has to sit there with a mallet and be ready to whack the mole as soon as it comes out. And sometimes one comes out at a time, sometimes a couple come out at the same time. And you really have to focus. You can't let your mind go anywhere. You just have to sit there with the mallet and as soon as one of these things arises, you've got to whack it with the plastic mallet so that it goes back in the hole. And if the mole goes back in the hole without you hitting it, then you don't get any points. But if you get it when it pops out, then you get points. So this game, Sayadaw feels, is a good analogy for practice. Because what happens is when we sit down, we put our attention on the abdomen, and when the rising comes, we try to follow it. We try to catch it right when it happens. And same thing, when the falling happens, we try to catch it right when it happens. With the same type of effort and alertness. So no need to think about what it is or why it is. In this game, all you do is you just hit the little plastic thing as soon as it comes out of the hole. And the same way, as soon as the rising happens, you observe it with your mind. As soon as the falling happens, you observe it with your mind. And if you do that, when the rising occurs, your mind connects with the stiffness that is there, for example. And that's like you get points for that. And when the falling happens, your mind connects with the relaxation or another quality that is there at the time. And when the mind connects in the walking with the lifting, when one observes the qualities that are really there, you get points, so to speak. In the moving, when one is accurate with one's aim and connects with the qualities, the sabhava, that are really there, one gets points. And in the placing too, one connects with that placing movement and observes the qualities that are really there. So if yogis understand this child's game, then they'll understand that one has to not let one's mind go anywhere. Just be focused on the place where the object occurs. When the object arises, we aim and we try to apply our energy so that mindfulness sticks to the object. So we need to have active mindfulness, active effort, and focus. We need to be alert, just like we're playing this dudoji. If we work like this, virya, sati, and samadhi, energy, mindfulness, and concentration, will develop in just a few days. And we will understand the meaning of this word bhavana, or mental development. So this word bhavana means to develop the mind that has virya, sati, samadhi, vitaka, aiming, vichara, rubbing, and to increase these qualities, to make them stronger and stronger, and to make them happen again and again. Make them stronger and stronger, and to make them happen again and again. Make them stronger and stronger,